Former President Donald Trump has made a significant promise. He said he wants to send checks to most Americans. The amount would be at least $2,000. He announced this plan during cabinet meetings and on social media. This idea has captured the attention of millions. Many families are looking for financial relief. They see this as a potential lifeline to help pay for groceries, gas, rent. The promise is simple. The government collects money from tariffs on imported goods. Then it sends that money back to the people as a tariff dividend. This is not a new idea, but it has gained new life with this recent announcement. As of today, December 8, 2025, many people are asking if they will get a check. The proposal suggests a direct payment to individuals or families. This is similar to the stimulus checks sent during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Trump stated that the U.S. is collecting trillions of dollars from tariffs. Next year is projected to be the largest tax refund season ever, and we're going to be giving back refunds out of the tariffs, he said, raising hopes of a lifeline for millions of Americans. The vision is clear. Money collected at the border would be sent directly to American households. The concept of a dividend is powerful. It suggests that citizens are shareholders in the country's economic policies. When the government collects extra revenue, that money can be distributed back to them. The biggest obstacle to this plan is the United States Congress. A president cannot simply decide to send money to millions of people. The Constitution gives Congress the power of the purse. This means any new spending, like a $2,000 check, must be approved by a law. That law must be passed in the House of Representatives and in the Senate. The president would then need to sign that law. Currently, there is no legislation in Congress for this tariff dividend plan. Experts say such legislation is extremely unlikely to occur in 2025. Without a bill, the plan cannot move forward. The process of creating a law is long and often difficult. Debating a law takes time and heat. Passing a law requires votes in both chambers. Creating this legislation would be a challenge. Lawmakers would need to agree on many details. Who would qualify for a check? Would there be income limits? How would the payments be delivered? During the pandemic, Democrats and Republicans had to negotiate for weeks to pass the stimulus packages. As one expert noted, a president can't unilaterally issue stimulus checks, and the ones sent out during his last administration were largely the result of a push from Democrats in the House and Democrats in the Senate. Many members of Congress are worried about government spending and the national debt. These lawmakers, often called deficit hawks, are hesitant to approve large new spending programs. They would likely oppose a bill that costs hundreds of billions of dollars. Their opposition could be enough to stop the bill from ever reaching a vote. The political will does not seem to exist. Without congressional approval, the $2,000 checks remain just an idea. Even if Congress were to approve the plan, there is another major problem. The math does not seem to add up. The total cost would be enormous. According to the IRS, more than 163 million Americans filed tax returns in 2024. If each received a $2,000 check, the total cost would be about $326 billion. That is a massive amount of money. The proposal says this would be paid for with tariff revenue, but tariff collections are far smaller. The plan faces a significant shortfall. Let's look at the numbers more closely. Even with limits, the cost remains very high. The Tax Foundation did its own analysis. They assumed checks only to adults earning under $100,000. Under that scenario, around 150 million adults would qualify. The total cost would be roughly $300 billion, still far more than annual tariff revenue. Reports show tariff revenue since the start of the second term is less than the checks would cost. There is a fundamental funding gap. If tariff revenue isn't enough, where would the rest come from? The government would have to borrow it, increasing the national debt. That would lose support from budget-conscious conservatives. The tariff dividend's appeal is that it's paid with existing revenue, not new debt. But the numbers undermine that claim. The president has claimed the U.S. is collecting trillions of dollars. Official data from the Treasury Department and from Customs and Border Protection show the figures are in the tens of billions annually, not trillions. To be clear, the government does collect substantial tariff revenue, but it's not enough to fund a $300 billion spending program. The numbers simply do not support the plan as it has been described to the public. Beyond the political and financial hurdles, there are also significant economic and legal concerns. Many economists worry about the effect these checks could have on inflation. The economy is not currently in a deep recession, which is when stimulus checks are typically used. Stimulus checks typically only happen when the economy is in really bad shape and consumers need a push to start spending money again. one senior economist told CBS Money Watch. That's not really the case in the present. Pumping hundreds of billions of dollars into the economy when it is already growing could cause prices to rise faster. This would make everyday goods more expensive and could hurt the very people the checks are meant to help. Stephen Moore, a former economic advisor to President Trump, has been critical of the idea. Sending out checks to people is a bad way to stimulate the economy, he said. If there is tariff revenue, that should be used to cut income taxes across the board. Stimulus checks only stimulate inflation. His view is shared by many conservative economists. They argue that broad-based tax cuts are a more effective way to boost long-term economic growth. The debate among experts shows there is no consensus that sending checks is the right policy for the current economic moment. There is also a significant legal cloud hanging over the entire plan. The tariffs themselves are being challenged in court. The Supreme Court is currently weighing the legality of President Trump's tariffs, and a ruling is expected soon. If the court rules against the administration, the government could be forced to refund some of the money collected. This would directly reduce the funds available for any dividend program. The fate of the tariffs, and the revenue they generate, is uncertain. It depends on a decision from the nation's highest court. This legal uncertainty makes it very risky to build a major new spending program on the back of this revenue stream. This is not the first time a dividend-style payment has been floated and met with skepticism. There was previous talk of a Doge dividend, which never materialized. These past proposals, combined with the current legal and financial issues, have made many experts doubtful. They see a pattern of grand promises that are difficult to implement in practice. These are not minor details. They are fundamental challenges to the viability of the entire proposal. Given all these hurdles, what is the most likely outcome? It appears highly improbable that most Americans will receive a $2,000 check in 2025. Congressional opposition, funding shortfall, legal and economic concerns. All of this is likely insurmountable. Online rumors may persist, but Congress has not approved any new payments, and the IRS has not confirmed any checks. For a new round of direct payments to happen, a new law must be passed by Congress, and that is the critical step that is currently missing. The path to a direct check is effectively blocked. However, this does not mean the idea will disappear completely. The administration may pivot to other ways of delivering financial relief that do not require a massive new spending bill. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, has already hinted at this. He suggested that the promised $2,000 dividend could be delivered in other ways. He said the dividend could come in lots of forms, in lots of ways that are not direct checks. He mentioned specific tax cuts, such as making tips, overtime pay, or Social Security benefits tax-free. These are not direct payments, but they would leave more money in people's pockets. These alternative forms of relief are much more politically and administratively feasible, sometimes through the regulatory process or smaller legislative actions, rather than a giant spending bill. The administration could pursue targeted tax cuts aimed at specific groups of workers or retirees. These changes could be framed as fulfilling the spirit of the tariff dividend promise. In conclusion, the promise has generated excitement, but it faces a steep uphill battle. The most probable outcome is not a direct check. Instead, Americans should watch for proposals related to tax cuts and smaller policy changes that leave more money in people's pockets.